Hello, magic casters of all shapes and sizes. My name is Chance. Welcome to my Spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning in to an incredibly special episode of my spell series. So this is kind of in celebration in a couple of things. Firstly, the channel finally hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark. I know it's a little bit late, but I've been racking my brain over what to do about it. And this came to mind actually as the result of one of my fans commenting. So thank you so much, you know who you are. Also, I've been thinking about focusing on homebrew spells that were made by my own fans, and I thought this would be a great way to kick off the series by grabbing one of the homebrew spells by one of the best known creators in the D&D space. And to be honest, part of the reason I even got this channel off the ground in the first place. So this episode, we're going to be talking about Erratic Hammering. If you're unfamiliar, it is created by the one and only Zbashu. I will link both the video and his channel in the description, so please check him out if you haven't already, although something tells me that if you're watching mine, you've definitely seen his. So it's honestly just such a pleasure to be in the same space as him. And yeah, Z, if you're watching this, by the way, I tried to find a way to get a hold of you before actually making this video, but you're a very hard man to try and contact. Very hard. I even went so far as to make a Twitter page to try and message you on there, because I know that's one of the only social media platforms you're on. Sadly, you don't have messages enabled, so I couldn't actually do that. If you have a problem with me making this video, just please let me know in the comment section, on Facebook, through email, whatever works best for you, and I'll take it down immediately. But consider this at the very least to be a tribute to you, if that makes any sense. In any case, we're going to be talking about Erratic Hammering. Once again, as pre-mentioned, it's made by Zbashu, and it is a level 1 spell. Fantastic. Let's take a look at its mechanics so we can kind of discuss what it does. Your cast time is a standard 1 action. The range is centered on self, but it extends out for an 1,000 foot radius. Its duration is an unbelievable 3 hours, and sadly it is concentration, but you know, whatever. The effect at a glance is as followed. For the duration, all ritual spells within range are disrupted. Should you concentrate on the spell for the full duration, you make a DC 10 Constitution check. On a success, nothing happens. On a fail, you create one piece of medium furniture, and that is your choice, by the way, and take 1 level of exhaustion. I'll link to the exhaustion video as soon as it's done as well. Your components are somatic and material, meaning you have to gesture with one hand, and if you're curious about that material component, it is a hammer, 120 nails, and a quantity of wood of your choice, which is quite interesting when you think about the implications of that last one. And the school is Abjuration, which is pretty cool. I really like it. Enchantment might also make sense, but as written, it is Abjuration. Fantastic! Now let's take a look at the full description here so we can better flesh this spell out. When you cast Erratic Hammering, for the duration, spells with the ritual tag that are cast within 1,000 feet are disrupted and can't be cast until Erratic Hammering stops. If you hold the Erratic Hammering its entire 3-hour duration, you make a DC 10 Constitution check. On a success, nothing happens. On a failure, you spontaneously create one piece of medium-sized wood furniture of your choice and take 1 level of exhaustion. Fantastic. Now, something that's not quite spelled out in the spell itself is whether or not you have to burn actions for that full 3 hours in order to maintain the effect. So in my head, you're the one hammering in these nails, right? That would explain the somatic component of the spell. Although it doesn't say that in the actual text of the spell itself. So I would kind of bring it up with your DM. By raw, it doesn't look like you have to burn constant actions, but I'd still talk with them about it. Something else worth noting is Z doesn't actually say which classes get this spell. And part of that comes from it being a homebrew in of itself. Homebrew spells aren't typically aimed at a particular class. They can be, but it's not the norm, at least not from what I've seen. However, if it was to be pegged to a class, I would think something along the lines of Trickery Domain Clerics, Arcane Tricksters could perhaps benefit from this as well. Basically any class that would get up to no good, and it certainly lends itself to a support role in terms of a playstyle as well. So I would certainly play it by ear and kind of see what that would result in. 3 hours of concentration is quite grueling, but I can certainly see the utility behind a spell with a 3-hour duration in general, and I suppose you can always stop concentrating at it at a moment's notice. So I like it. I think it's incredibly well balanced, and personally I don't see a reason why I wouldn't allow it in one of my games. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. I certainly could not come up with this on my own. I'm not a super creative guy. But in any case, let me try and do my best at being a little bit creative, and let's get on to some alternative uses now. So coming up with alternative uses for this was a little bit tricky, just because it basically does what it says it does. But I think this would be a great way to cause mental anguish to a long-standing arcane rival of yours. I think that would be hilarious, especially if you don't have to necessarily burn actions to constantly smack more nails into the board. So, for example, if you cast a spell somewhere else, and then transfer yourself over to a new location, it's left a little bit up to your DM's discretion as to whether or not the sound would follow you exactly. But if you're, let's say, in a magical school, something like a Harry Potter theme perhaps, and your fantastic magic rival is trying to cast some complicated ritual, this would be a great way to ensure they get a flunking grade. One other potential use might actually be to use this to interrupt some kind of a dark, nefarious plot. Let's say you approach a mausoleum, temple, or otherwise kind of arcane-related space, and you'd just like to make sure that if someone's doing something bad, they don't get to. Just kind of throw one more monkey wrench into their plan. I think that would be another fantastic use for this. And for a third, I was thinking this would be a great plot hook. For example, let's say your adventuring party approaches a town that's in disarray and chaos, and the characters ask one of the NPCs what's going on. The NPC tells them that for whatever reason, when they woke up this morning, they weren't able to cast their ritual spells, and they don't know why. Being that they're low level, they can't really cast anything at a super high level, so they have to use their ritual books, for example. I think that'd be really cool, just a great plot hook, and then the party has to investigate further, and that naturally reveals the rest of the plot. So I think this spell could be used in a variety of different ways if you're kind of willing to accept the fact that it's not gonna be super useful in everyday run-of-the-mill combat. It's super niche, and Zbashu himself even mentions that in his video. That being said, if you can come up with any alternative uses of your own, please put them down in the comment section beneath. I really appreciate it, and I know everyone else tuning in will as well. That being said, I want to take a quick moment to thank our patrons, Marcos G. Guzman Jr., Reyna, Tanner Frazier, Kenny Garcia, Bruce T, Tato Seal, and Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Also, if you'd like to chat with us and myself, we do a daily live stream from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. For the most part, we do it every day. I'm actually just coming off of a pretty bad head cold, so I wasn't able to do it these last couple days, but we're pretty dang consistent. If I'm ever not able to, I put it in the community section on my YouTube channel, so please check there if you're not too sure. And if you like that cool hand-drawn Dragonborn up on the screen and you'd like your own hand-drawn D&D picture, please check out our Patreon videos to figure out exactly how to do that. That being said, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your time. Zbashu, thank you so much for being an inspiration to everyone else in the community, both players and creators alike. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy casting!